So hi friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So in this video I will discuss today's second shift coding questions, and this is one of the most toughest shift ever in the TCS NQT 2026. So ये भाई अभी तक का सबसे ज़्यादा shift है, because earlier what happened that if TCS is giving hard question ना, that they are giving balanced question, means if the first question was easy, second question was hard. So in this way they are doing, but for today's shift this was quite hard question, and must comment here how many test cases you solved. I have solved, means I have saw lots of comment related to this, and many of the candidates are saying related to this that they got very difficult question and they even don't know how to take input. Okay, so this was the very worst scenario, but I will discuss the coding questions. Again saying friends, if you are the candidates who have not done much more preparation, then I will suggest ignore that this shift. Okay, and focus on the array and string based. Again saying what I'm saying, why I'm saying these things, because you will not able to do the graph based questions or hard questions or the level the question they are asking, and it's not possible. So focus on that. Again, it's completely your bad luck, I can say. Okay, so let me discuss without wasting our time. First is related to modified quicksort. So here you have to basically find the pivot index, means you are given an array of integer, implement a modified quicksort partition step to determine the pivot index after placing the pivot element in its correct sorted position. Remember friends, if you will take the time now, then at least it will take 1 hour to solve these questions. Why I'm saying, because whenever you solve the lead code question, then there all the inbuilt libraries and all those stuffs are included, but here in NQT you have to write the question from scratch, and even you can't able to copy and paste the code. So these all functionality are disabled, and I don't know how they are giving the question way ऐसे देना नहीं चाहिए. But what can I say, I think there must be some normalization in this shift. अगर normalization हुआ, then it completely depend on your aptitude, means numerical aptitude, reasoning and English, and I think वैसा ही होना चाहिए. देखते हैं क्या आएगा, जैसे ही अपडेट आएगा I will provide update. Okay, so here you have to just get the pivot index. So pivot is chosen as the last element of the array and rearrange the array such that all elements smaller than pivot are on the left and all elements greater than or equal to the pivots are on the right. Means simply you have to get the pivot index and all the elements greater than that will put on the right and all the elements less than that will put on the left. Remember friends, if you don't want to get confused, or if you want detailed explanation, I will suggest follow the GFG quicksort algorithm, or you can follow any YouTube channel like Striver and other. They have explained this algorithm very well in comparison with me. So I will suggest go and search that and you can go for that. But again, it completely depends on your luck that किस तरह का क्वेश्चन आएगा. So quicksort is a sorting algorithm which is based on divide and conquer, that pick the element as a pivot and partition the given array around a picked pivot, placing the pivot in its current position in a sorted order. So simply इसमें बहुत सारा steps होता है. First you have to choose a pivot elements. Now again that depend on condition what they are asking. Then you have to partition the array, means divide the array. Then recursively call that, and you have to consider the base case too. Okay, so these are the scenario they have clearly mentioned, means in a detailed way they have mentioned कैसे कर रहे हैं. सपोज पिवट एलिमेंट 5 उन्होंने लिया, देन all the elements greater to that will be placed on the right side and all the elements less than that will be placed on the left side. So that's how, and then again shifting the pivot elements and arranging this value. So you can say this whole array is getting divided and further basically it will be merged. So this is also based on divide and conquer algorithm. That's why I'm saying. Okay, so these are the partition algorithm. Now let me just discuss little bit more. So input format was what you have been given, means you have to take n input, take the array and the elements of the array you have to take. Output format you have to return the pivot index. Remember friends, if you are the candidates who have exam today, if you can recall exact question then you can say that, but most of the candidates say that this was the question related to quicksort algorithm. So input, suppose you are taking 5 and these elements are taken, and if you are choosing the pivot as 3, so if I am choosing the pivot elements as 3, pivot index as 3, so after partition you will get 2 1 3 4 7, means 4 7 is greater than 3, so that will place on the right hand side, and 2 1 is less than 3, so it will be placed on the left side. So that is the logic for this. Again, it might seems very easy, but it was not easy, because you have to look for the base cases and you have to do the recursive call and all those things. So that's what I can say. Then so what are the logic or approach I'm applying here? I will choose the last element as pivot element, maintain the index I for smaller element and traverse the array and place the pivot at correct positions, and just we will return the pivot index. So first of all I am including the library. Again, if you want you can use the hashtag include bits std_c++.h, that is basically blocking. So here I am taking the input, declaring the array, taking the array input and choosing the pivot index. Okay, so I'm just calling the partition function, and I'll just basically see out the pivot index. Means if you will call the partition function, then it will give the pivot index value, and further you can do it. So for partition, I'm just passing the array low and high value, and at first I'm taking the pivot element as high. Remember friends, in QSET you can take according to your criteria. Means pivot index ऐसा नहीं कि आप high choose करें, you can choose the low or you can choose another value. Okay, that completely depend on the requirement and what they're exactly asking in the questions. Got it? So that's the things I want to tell. And so I equal to low minus 1 initializing. Now I will run the loop from j equal to low to j less than high, j plus plus. If arr j less than pivot, means I will just compare those value with pivot elements. If it's so, I will swap that, and I will basically increase the means temporary variable, that is I plus plus. So that was the logic, and you have to swap at last arr I plus 1 and arr high and return the pivot index. So this will give the pivot index value. So I hope you got the logic. Again saying friends, if your exam don't go on well, then I will suggest don't be in a panic situation. Prepare for some other exam too, and if they do normalization, then you might get the interview call too. So anything can happen, and I think they will consider, because previous year be around 2024 or 2025 if I can recall, once it was like that, but and students got the digital call without any coding question. Okay, yeah, I have proof for that too. If you need, we can make a dedicated video to that. But again saying, either आपको मिले ऑफर या ना मिले, focus on other. Soon cognizant off campus hiring will be announced, and other off campus hiring like Accenture, Bipro will be announced. So whenever I announce, I will provide. So focus on that. Okay, उसमें भाई उतना हार्ड लेवल का क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा जाएगा. Again, that depend on luck and other factor. So same things here I'm doing, j equal to low to j less than high, j plus plus, if arr j less than, and I'm swapping that, and I will return the value. So that's how the logic will work. Means the Java code is also same, just logic you have to focus, and the Python code you can go through it. Okay, so I will say it's better to search in YouTube about the material, that is the QSET. You will get the detailed explanation. There are lots of videos there, like the Striver, which is on the best playlist, or Love Bubber in Hindi, and other you can go through it. Otherwise GFG tutorials are there too. Next, let me move to the second questions, that is related to minimum cost to connect all node, which is basically nothing but Kruskal algorithm. So those who have idea about the Kruskal algorithm, this is also a graph based questions, and you have to be very good enough to solve this question. Again, I am giving guarantee that I have also been solved some graph based question. If you will solve now, at least it will take 1.5 hours from means writing the code from scratch. Okay, means I have not actually, means at current I have not hands-on experience on this graph based question. Even it came in exam, then I might not able to solve, or if I will solve it, at least it will require 2 hour. I don't know how they are giving just 55 minutes and they are expecting that, because you will waste your time 10 to 15 minutes just taking the input, just analyzing the questions. Okay, but what can I say, nothing can be done. Okay, so what is the basically Kruskal's or minimum spanning tree MST algorithm? A minimum spanning tree or minimum weight spanning tree of a weighted, connected and undirected graph is a spanning tree that has minimum weight, and the weight of spanning tree is the sum of all the edges of the tree. So there are some certain steps we will use in the Kruskal algorithm. First of all, you will sort all the edges of non-decreasing order of your weight and pick the smallest edge and check if it form a cycle with the spanning tree. So if cycle is not formed, then include this edge. If cycle is formed, you have to discard it. That's it. Means minimum spanning tree में आपको अगर cycle form हो रहा है, तो again those who have done pretty much coding, they only can understand whatever things I'm saying. Okay, otherwise for freshers, if you don't have idea about coding, then I'll suggest leave this video. Okay, don't waste your time, and you can just focus on some other exam that's really good. Because again saying friend, these type of question in generally means ask in at least 10 to 15 LPAs exam. Okay, so this was the graph, and this graph contains 9 vertices and 14 edges. So minimum spanning tree form will have 9 minus 1 8 edges, and further just go through it. They have clearly mentioned about that graph contains 9 vertices and 14 edges. So minimum spanning tree will be 9 minus 1 edges, and this is the basic directions of all that, and this is the code. Okay, so there are basically various logic you will be requiring here. You will need the logic of DSU. Okay, and you have to find that. So let me just come to the solution, then you will get clarity. So same things, whatever thing I have mentioned here. So input format was n m you have to take, and you have to take the value of u1 v1 w1, means which will represent the weight and number of nodes. N will denote the number of node, M will denotes the number of edges, and UI VI will denotes the nodes connected, and WI the weight of edge. So these are the value you have to take the input from the user, and you have to output the minimum cost. Okay, for example, if I'm taking 4 5 means the number of nodes and the number of edges as 4 and 5 respectively, and taking the value, that is the nodes connected and the weight of edge, then you will get the output as 19. Explanation you can just go through it. First I will choose the edge 2 3, then 0 3, and these are the corresponding weight. 4 5 10 are the corresponding weight, isn't it? Okay, so that's how, and you have to just calculate it. So what am the approach I'm applying here? The same things again, saying better to go through the other video related to detailed video, and you will find at least 40 to 50 minute video for this particular topic. Okay, means they are taking just to make you understand at least 40 to 50 minutes. So you can understand the complexity of this particular question. Especially first question, so I think you can still solve at least in 14 to 50 minutes, but this question is not solvable in that much amount of time. So hashtag include, or you can use the bits too. And I am first creating the structure that is essential for means in graph based questions, UVW, and this is the compare method where I will just compare the values, and this is the temporary parent array I am taking, and this is the code to find that. Okay, first of all let me just give you the logic how I'm taking the input and all those stuff. So I'm taking n and m, which will represent the age and weight, and this is the value I'm taking and appending to that. I will sort that using the custom comparator here. So CMP is a custom comparator, means custom comparator basically when we want to compare the value according to our requirement, that in that way we are basically using the custom comparator. So this is the custom comparator. It will return the value if AW or A dot weight means A का weight अगर less रहे B dot weight से, then it will return true, otherwise false. So that is the work of custom comparator, and taking all those value here, and if count equal to n minus 1 will return the cost, otherwise return minus 1. Okay, so things here I am doing are same. First of all I will basically traverse to the edge, and I will try to find the edge, and I will unite it, and I will basically just add up the cost and count the values. That's it. Okay, now there are, you can say these are some functions, unite and find. The logic of this is unite means what? Int x y means two value we will take, and I will just get the parent, means parent of find x equal to find of y, and this is the code to get the find, means you have to basically just find the parents for that. So if parent of x equal to x, I will return x, otherwise return the parent x equal to find parent x. So these were the questions. Again, this was quite hard questions, you can say. It will means if I will give the detailed explanation about means with all the logics and all the dry run, then it will take at least 1.5 hours, and I don't want to basically demotivate you to this. So there are lots of video are available, that's why I'm not giving the detailed explanation. So just go through it and follow that, and must go through the previous. This is the previous shift question, you can see बहुत easy question था previous shift. Just you have to find the frequency element, and in the second question that was also not that much hard. Okay, just you have to take the 2D matrix and just means you have to find the minimum row sum with cost replacement, and that's all. मीन सिंपली आपको ये लेना था एंड 0 0 को रिप्लेस करना था इस पर्टिकुलर बेट्स 5 6 7, एंड यू हैव टू जस्ट basically return the minimum sum of the value. If two sum have same frequency, then you have to return the value which have less. That's it. Okay, I have already made detailed video related to that, so you can just go through it. So hope video informative to you. Again, don't be demotivated friends, practice. Now you know your reality, about your strength, about your weakness. Now you can basically focus on other exam. Okay, so don't get panic and all those. I think there must be some normalization. Hope informative to you. मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में. थैंक यू.